The preterite and the imperfect. Examples. In order to understand well how to use the preterite and the imperfect, it's important for you to know the conjugation of the verbs in these two tenses. It's also important to know the expressions that are used with each of them. The preterite uses these expressions, while the imperfect are going to use these expressions. Notice also that the expressions used with the imperfect are also used with the present tense. There are also some phrases that you can use with imperfect. When I was a little boy, when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager, when I was young, all of these phrases are going to be in the imperfect. Cuando era niño, cuando era adolescente, cuando era joven. Also, when you are talking about these holidays and you are describing something that happened in the past, they are going to be also in the imperfect. Era Hanukkah, era el día de San Patricio, era Navidad, era Año Nuevo, era el 4 de julio. Número 1. It was the 4th of July. It was 9 p.m. Dates and time in Spanish are going to be always in the imperfect. In this sentence, you have this word when that is going to introduce the preterite. So this word is telling you that one of these verbs is going to be in the preterite. Since these verbs are in the imperfect, this is the one that will be in the preterite. Era el 4 de julio, eran las 9 de la noche, cuando los fuegos artificiales empezaron. Imperfect, imperfect, preterite. Número 2. When I was 15 years old, my grandmother. Age is always in the imperfect. Cuando tenía 15 años, mi abuela. Número 3. When I was a little girl. Another phrase that is in the imperfect. I always used to get up. Expressing habitual actions, everything that is translated as used to, like for example, used to get up, used to have breakfast, used to go to school, are going to be all in the imperfect. In this sentence, all of the verbs are going to be in the imperfect. Cuando era niña, siempre me levantaba a las 7 de la mañana, desayunaba e iba a la escuela. Número 4. When I was a teenager, phrase in the imperfect. My friends and I used to go to school and play video games after. Expressing habitual actions, used to go to school, used to play video games, all of them in the imperfect. Cuando era adolescente, mis amigos y yo íbamos a la escuela y después jugábamos juegos de video. Número 5. When I was young, imperfect. I will work extra hours to save money. Same as before, everything that is translated as used to or would will be in the imperfect. Cuando era joven, trabajaba horas extras para ahorrar dinero. Número 6. Yesterday it was cold. Notice that we are using one of the expressions that belongs to the preterite. However, we cannot use the preterite in this sentence because this is a weather expression. And the weather expressions are always in the imperfect. Ayer hacía frío. Número 7. I was talking on the phone when you arrived home last night. I was talking. This is expressing an ongoing action with the verb was and a second verb that ends in ing. So this is going to be in the imperfect. This word when is telling you that one of these verbs should be in the preterite. Since this is already in the imperfect, this is the one that is in the preterite. Yo hablaba por teléfono cuando tú llegaste a casa anoche. Número 8. My co-workers were resting while we were working, expressing two ongoing actions. We're resting, we're working. They are happening at the same time. These two sentences are combined with the word while. Mis compañeros de trabajo descansaban mientras nosotros trabajábamos. All of the verbs are in the imperfect. Número 9. It was 10. Time is always in the imperfect. This is followed by the word when, cuando, that is telling you that one of these verbs should be in the preterite. Since this is already in the imperfect, this should be in the preterite. Eran las 10 cuando tú llegaste anoche. Also notice that we are using the expression of the preterite, anoche. Número 10. I was sleepy when the teacher asked me a question last Monday. First, notice that it is followed by the word when, that it's telling you that one of these verbs is going to be in the preterite. Since this is already in the imperfect, this should be in the preterite. Tenía sueño cuando el profesor me hizo una pregunta el lunes pasado. Also notice how we are using an expression for it that belongs to the preterite. Número 11. That was happy, an emotional state, in the imperfect, followed by the word when, that it's telling you that one of these verbs should be in the preterite. Since this is already in the imperfect, this is the only verb that we have here that should be in the preterite. Ayer, papá estaba contento cuando le mostramos nuestras notas. Número 12. When my sister was 10 years old, age is always in the imperfect. Cuando mi hermana tenía 10 años. Número 13. My brother and I were doing homework when our parents arrived. This is an ongoing action. We're doing homework. It's followed by the word cuando, when, that it's telling you that one of these verbs should be in the preterite. This is already in the imperfect. This should be in the preterite. Mi hermano y yo hacíamos la tarea cuando nuestros padres llegaron. We can switch the order of these sentences and we can say nuestros padres llegaron cuando hacíamos la tarea. Still, you are going to keep this verb in the preterite and this one in the imperfect. Número 14. Mom was cooking while we were watching TV. Two ongoing actions happening at the same time. They are joined by this word, while. Both of them should be in the imperfect. Mamá cocinaba mientras nosotros veíamos la tele. Número 15. It was Easter. It was raining. We are describing what's happening in this holiday. This should be in the imperfect. It was raining. Weather is always in the imperfect. And the rest of the description is going to be in the preterite. Era Pascua, llovía. Mi familia y yo nos reunimos, comimos el almuerzo y vimos una película. This is in the preterite because these are actions that are happening one after another.